Sliding the chair out because I'm not doing the stool.
It's fine.
I'll sit on the table.
That reasonable. Or you can pull a desk.
Alright. So for my project, I did a Thanksgiving breakfast at the River Haven Youth Shelter. In the beginning, we were sitting here and everyone, had these great ideas. And I was like, okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. And I thought of stuff for a while, and I kind of came to, human services and family services because it's something I've just always been around. My mom was a caseworker at Dutchess Outreach, so I've always been involved with, food drives and all kinds of stuff, just volunteering there. And so I decided that I was going to do, I wanted to do some type of meal. I was thinking Christmas at first, but then I was like, I don't really know how many people are going to be around for Christmas and, at the shelters that, I was contemplating doing this at. So I figured Thanksgiving. And at first I was going to do one at the Battered Women's Shelter, but I just, not that I didn't feel like I wanted to do it for them, but I didn't feel the connect that I did until I decided that I was going to do it for the kids at Riverview. And so it took me a while to get in contact with Mrs. Heller, which is the lady who runs the Riverview Shelter, and she told me, I thought I was going to need a lot more food. So I thought I was going to have to get donations from grocery stores and, stuff like that. And I thought I was going to need more like canned and boxed stuff, but I didn't because there was only like 5 or 6 kids there. So what I decided to do was I figured I would scratch out getting donations from the stores, and I figured I would start, asking people to make things. So between myself, Mrs. Weber, and some of my family, we made a bunch of food. We had like 5 or 6 pies, apple pies, pumpkin pie, pudding pie. We had a bunch of muffins, blueberry, and we had cornbread and like apple cinnamon bread, and I made like a little basket with hot chocolate and candles and stuff inside of it. There was English muffins. Like we got a decent amount generated. And so when the week of my project rolled around, I got scarlet fever, which some of you may not know what that is, but it's like a really bad strep throat. So like your whole life is just like, you're done, basically. It's really bad strep throat, and you have like a fever, and you just feel like, you're in a coma. It's really bad. So I was absent the day I was supposed to pick up my food from Miss Weber, and I was absent the next day too because I was still sick. So I got dressed and I got in my car. I called the school and I was like, all right, Miss Weber, can I come pick up this food? So then I drove to the school and I couldn't find where she was telling me to go, so I was driving around the school in circles because I was trying to find my car. And then I finally did. She gave me the food. So that was like one of my first obstacles of being extremely sick. I brought the food home. And then I think the next day after that was the first day of break. And we decided that we were going to do my project, not the date of Thanksgiving, but the day before, just because some of the kids were going home for the holiday. And so the morning of my project, it was snowing. Yeah. So my mom didn't want me to go, Miss Polito didn't want me to go. But one of the things that made me do it was my 2 little sisters. I would talk to my mom about my project, like planning it, like everything. I would always run it past my mom. We'd talk about it in the car, we'd talk about it at the grocery store, all the time, everywhere. And my sisters would always be exposed to it. So my littlest sister, she's 7, my project to her became JoJo's breakfast. Like that's all I heard was JoJo's breakfast. So every time we're in the grocery store, they're picking up cookies. Can we make this? Can we make that? For weeks and weeks before. And so they woke me up because I still wanted to bake some things fresh first thing that morning. Like I had gotten baked goods, and then other people just donated stuff from me to me, which was helpful because it was like, there's only the certain amount of money we can spend. Which, by the way, I spent more than this. So they woke me up at 5:30 in the morning, like I told them to, because they're up all hours of the night. And they helped me bake, and when it started snowing and everyone was telling me not to go, they started crying, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. So I bundled them up and we got all the food together and we waddled out to the car with all the food and loaded up the car, and I called Mrs. Heller and I told her, I was like, we're coming, like this is what's happening. So I have all-wheel drive, so we drove, we found the shelter, and originally she told me that I wasn't going to be able to see the residents that lived there, but she was come right in, and I was like, all right. So we brought all the food in and stuff, and we set it all up, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. They were all happy, like people were eating it, like this stuff was so good, and it was awesome to see, like everyone was so excited. Like they didn't know it was coming to them, I don't think. Like, and you know, it was great, but I didn't get to spend much time with the residents just because I did feel a little uncomfortable because I wasn't supposed to see them, I don't think. At least that's what she told me, and Mr. Berto said the same. So I was like, I didn't take any pictures myself. I was like, I don't want to do, and I didn't want to, like, you know, intrude. So, you know, as it was time to start leaving, well, Mrs. Heller, she walked me and my sisters back to the door, and she said to us, she looked like she was going to cry. And this is what, like, made it such a powerful experience for me. She looked like she was going to cry. And I'm one of those emotional people. Like, I'll start crying over anything. It's just a thing. And she was like, thank you so much, because we ask and ask and ask for people to do things, and it never really happens. And she said, it really means a lot to us. And then she thanked my sisters. And I was going to start crying, and it was just like, so I was like, don't. And my sisters was like, yay! And I was like, okay, good. So we walked out to the car, and I'm still in this, like, emotional, like, so I got in the car and I didn't want to start crying in front of them because I wanted them to know that what they did, what they helped me with, was such a great thing. So we talked about it in the car afterwards, and it made me realize that they thought about this so much on their own that it wasn't just my project. Like, I can't just call it my project. My little sister ran into my bedroom the week before with a piece of cut up printer paper that said JoJo's Breakfast on it. She said, this is to decorate the table. And so it was just like, they thought about it a lot too. So it wasn't just my experience. It was an experience that I had with my sisters, and that's why I think it was so much more powerful for me. I think that it was a great experience for them, but for them to see what they did and what they helped with, because you could tell how much they appreciated it and how much, you know, Mrs. Heller appreciated it. And I think that, you know, some people, I think that their shelter's kind of forgotten about. This house is in the middle of a neighborhood. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that this house is, you know, a shelter. It looks just like a normal house. And so we felt really, really good about it. And she asked me, she said, please keep us in mind because this was a great thing that you guys did. So what I was thinking of doing was this spring, I'm going to raise money just, you know, separately. I'm going to do a fundraiser, some bake sales, any way I can raise money. And we're going to buy splashdown tickets for all of the residents, and we're going to give them to them like right at the beginning of the summer, so that they have the whole summer to choose when they want to do it, and you know, it'll just be a thing. So, but I mean, in terms of success or failure, like there was a lot of obstacles for me. Obviously, like near-death experience was far as super, and the snow. So could have died several times, but it's fine. I think it was a success, and I really, really enjoyed it, and it like really started that holiday spirit for me and my sisters. And when I told my mom about it, she started crying. Like, that just totally ignited like the holiday season for us, and it was pretty great. So I think it was a thumbs up.
Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? And they put on their Facebook page
Yeah.
that they told them about that.
So they took these pictures because they took these pictures. And they posted it on their Facebook page, and I said thank you to Arlington High School student Joey Martinez for, you know, donating and like, you know, a big status on it. And then a few weeks ago, I just went back to look at it because I was like, oh, this is fun. So I looked at the comments, and you guys know Miss PK, the Spanish teacher? Well, she commented on it like out of nowhere, and I had told her about it because I was I did go to work the night before. So she said something. She's like, he's such a great kid, and he was working the night before. It was just so weird to see his peak at comments, and I was like, I didn't share to Facebook. It was weird, but it was really fun. It was really cool, and I definitely can't wait to surprise them with the tickets to Splashdown. I mean, I'm gonna do whatever it takes, like, you know, fundraisers, some of my income tax money, like, I don't really care. But yeah, it's just a passion.
Way to go. Proud of you.